brother's keeper, my sister's keeper. God bless you guys. Have an amazing night, and we'll see you tomorrow. God bless.
There anyway.
Right.
What if we strategically made that work for us? I'm just thinking outside of the box right now, so that we could possibly save some of them instead of the brothers having the mentality, I'm going to be dead by 18 anyway, so I'm going to do what I got to do. That's not where we need to be.
Right. You know, we have to get out in the streets, and we have to get out in the streets and be out there for a reason. Hopefully, that reason being whether it be steering a young person in a better direction, or just making sure that our streets are clean, making sure that there's not drugs and alcohol on our streets. You know, we have to do those. That's work that needs to be done. You know what I mean? And can you talk to us a little bit about when did you really, after you finally graduated high school and you realized that college wasn't going to be right for you at that particular time? What did you do next after college?
Well, you know, Sid, let me back up just for a moment, because if we start in college, we're going to miss out a large part of what happened prior to college, and probably the reason why I didn't stay in the first place.
Wow.
I'm going to go back when I was a sophomore in high school, man. So, you know, I'm somewhere around 16 years old, had never done a drug in my life. Had drank a little bit of alcohol, but had never experienced any type of drug. And I know if some of us that may be on here, if you've gone through an NA program or something like that, you're probably saying, well, brother, alcohol is a drug. I understand that. But I'm just talking about for the people that don't know that. Okay, I had not done any drugs yet. And I came outside of an evening event in high school. I'm a sophomore now. And this brother is in the back of a pickup truck, and he's rolling up joints and he's throwing them out. He's just throwing them out to anybody that could catch them. You catch them and you caught it, and you could do whatever you wanted to do with it. I caught one of those joints. Had never done drugs in my life. I did, however, have a boy then, and he had already smoked some weed. So I called him up and I said, hey man, I got this joint. I don't want to smoke it by myself. You want to come over? He came over, we smoked it. And here's point number one. Nothing happened. I was trying, you know, something was trying to protect me right then, but I didn't listen. If I'm talking to anybody out there right now, where you've done something and you didn't get the effect that you thought that you were supposed to get, everybody else got it. You know what that's trying to tell you? You don't need to go any further. I didn't listen. I did not listen. So I said, well, shoot, I didn't feel anything. Let's go buy some. When we went to buy some, that's when I felt it. From that point, just one joint in a pickup truck, one joint. From that point, the next 17 years of my life would be best defined as being a drug addict. If you said, well, man, what did you take? What did you do? I'd go, I ain't got time to talk about that. Let's talk about what I didn't do.
Wow.
I didn't shoot up, but I didn't say I didn't do heroin. I did basically every drug that you could possibly imagine in doing, and everything that came along with drug addiction, I did. Forget all that middle class stuff that I talked about. If you get really hooked on what I was hooked on, I was smoking crack, I was doing, you know, your $300 a day, $500 a day. That's where this thing ended up. If you let it control you like that, where you came from and what you look like while you're doing it, they ain't gonna look the same.
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
Were you a teenager and a drug addict at the same time?
Yes. Yeah, whenever you doing something that you can't control, I don't care how you try to dress it up, you an addict.
Right. So at, let's say 17 years old, you were doing drugs.
Oh yeah, bro. By the time I was 17, and that's why I didn't make it at IU.
Now, how would you say that joint, when you went back and you bought more, because that's when you decided to partake in it? How would you say that joint changed your whole perspective? Like, how did you go from just smoking a joint to diving deep into drugs? How did you go from one to the next?
Because the drugs made me feel like the person that I really was, but didn't know that I was really that person. Did you hear that?
Say it
the
again.
drugs made me feel like the person that I was trying to be, that I couldn't be without the feeling of the drug in me. Did you get it that way?
Yeah.
And so since it was so important, we got to go back to the streets. Here's this guy that's coming from a middle-class family. Everybody's smart in the family. How am I going to fit in with the streets? I could see that person, but I never had the courage to be that person until I got the drugs in me. When I got the drugs in me, the person that I saw that I could be, I became that person because I had the drug in me. And that's what I'm talking about with the gravity, with the pull of the streets. It was so strong that I said, in order for me to fit out here, I got to become another person, but I don't know how to become that person. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll smoke this joint. I'll hit this angel dust. I'll smoke this hash. I'll snort this heroin. I'll snort this cocaine. Right. I'll smoke this crack.
Right. And so as you partook in what the streets had to offer, you essentially became the streets, and that for you was also a survival mechanism, because you couldn't fit in at home doing drugs constantly, could you?
No. It became, as you said, it became a mechanism. And anything that you know about, if you know anything about addiction, it starts out with, I'd like to feel this way. Then you feel that way. And then you say, I have to feel this way. Mm-hmm. First is I like to, but then it becomes I have to. Okay, well, if you were the age that I was, it's not like you can support your drug habit, because you can't. So you either going to end up selling, you're going to end up slinging, or you're going to end up doing all of the other things. You're going to stick somebody up. Fortunately, I never did. But you're going to do some things to get that money, to get that drug. Right. And so that's the path that it took me to. Okay, now fast forward to get back to your question. What was it? What got me out of IU? Well, because I already had the habit. By the time that I got to IU, as luck would have it, I met one of the biggest dealers on campus. Wow. Bro, I don't know how many how many hours that I had, but I can tell you right now, I was going to that one class, Black Films. I went to that one class and got my C average, and then that was it. I was doing drugs all the rest of the time, all day and all night, to the point to where one of my friends that's still alive today, that's still close to me today, that does not live in Cincinnati, one night I had such an experience that I thought, honest to God, I was going to OD. I called that brother about 2:30 in the morning and said, hey, man, you got to stay on the phone with me. Otherwise, I think I'm going to clock out. I'm going to lose it. Wow. I honestly thought that was going to be the last day that I was going to see alive. So I've been to that point in my life to where I didn't even think that I was going to be alive.
You know, I'm glued to my seat right now. And I'm glued to the screen as well. For those viewers out there who are with us tonight, I want to appreciate you. I want you to take a moment to share this stream. Let a friend know that we're having a deep and powerful conversation that fits thousands of us. And stay tuned here. All right, we're going to be right back with more from Leon and how he overcame his addiction and how he overcame the gravity of the streets after this brief message. America's Next Motivator, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by Cedric Riley, sponsored by our good friends over at 40 Healthware. And we're back. That was a brief break, right?
Yeah, that was brief, bro.
Hey, I just want to give people a moment to take a breath and to gather their thoughts, because there could be a lot of people going through situations right now that we don't know about, and this conversation has value in it for them that's going to help pull them through. Young people, middle-aged people, and some older people. And right now, what I would like to get into is whether or not you felt a supportive environment while you were in college that could have helped you to getting yourself straightened up, or was it just one or two friends?
It was probably just one or two friends, but unfortunately, they were not at the time. Neither of them were going to college. So in terms of did I have a support group or a foundation or two or three people that I could have relied on? In terms of people that were really tight with me, no. But since you asked the question that way, man, I'm not going to let myself out that easily, because I don't want to let anybody else out that easily if you're going through right now. Sometimes if you don't have the existing group, you got to find the existing group. Mm-hmm. The question would be, could I have found the existing group? Mm-hmm. The answer would have been yes. But did I want to find the existing group?
Right.
No.
Right.
So I'm not letting you off the hook if you're out there.
Right.
Because we're so easy to say, well, I didn't have the proper people around it. Well, you know what? That possibly could be. As a matter of fact, your family might be so jacked up, you can't even get support out of your own family. You got to find another family.
But
you got to find something.
But let me ask you this, because this was all your own doing, and we know that many of our people out there who might be steeped in drugs or alcohol, however they want to term it, are doing it at their own doing. Were you in love with access to this alternate personality? And is that what kept you doing the drugs? The fact that when you take that hit, you could become this person that's alternate to your reality. Did you enjoy that?
Oh, absolutely. That person right there, I truly admired.
Mm-hmm. Why?
That person right there, because I felt the results of that behavior. I felt what I was putting out, the way that I was carrying myself. I liked the results. I liked the feedback from that person. Mm. The thing of it is, I said early on, the drugs made me become the person that I already was. That's the key. Mm-hmm. The drugs made me become the person that I already was, but didn't have the courage to become that person.
Right. In other words, the drugs provided an artificial shortcut to your higher self. And that higher self at that time was demonic.
There you go, bro. You feeling me now? That's right. Exactly what it was.
Right.
That's exactly what it was.
Right.
The brother that I'm talking to right now on StreamYard, or whatever it is that we on, Yard Stream, whatever we on. That brother that I'm looking at right now, that brother that I've only known for about a month or so now, it takes a lot of courage to be you, man. And what I'm saying is, I'm assuming that you like who you are right now. But what if you could see the you that you are right now? What if you could see that you, but you didn't have the courage to be that you? And so in order to be the you that I'm talking to right now, you had to put something in you so that you could talk the way that you're talking.
Right.
That's where I was.
So this is the part where I want to unpack, because I believe that so many of the people in our communities who are doing drugs, the reason why there is a level of perpetuity to it. The reason why they keep doing it over and over, and then they might backslide and do it again and again and again. And, you know, we call that an addictive behavior, but there's also something else in there, which is the fact that you are you are fascinated with the fact that you could be another person when you put this drug in you. And it might be somebody that you want to be, which is who you are. I mean, you don't shape shift because you're taking drugs. It's still you. But you're like, wow, what was that? And it's that that we chase. And when you talk to people who have wisdom about the situation, what they'll tell you, if they're wise, is that you could be your greater self, but do it without the drugs, and it'll be solid. You won't need a substance to turn it on and turn it off. It'll be you around the clock, which is where you are today. Is that right?
That's right, man. And, you know, I was talking to a sister right when I was in the thick of things. The sister was not my wife, and it was not somebody that I hooked up with either. But the sister knew that I was doing these drugs. She also knew my full potential. And she said to me, and I'll never forget it, she said, you know, those drugs are nothing more than a crutch, don't you? And I denied it. I said, no, it ain't no crutch. This is just something that I like to do. Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you, if there's a pretty good chance that if you are a user, pretty good chance that that drug has become a crutch. It is a way for you to escape. It is a way for you not to face what's really going on. It's a way for you to avoid what's happening in the now. Mm. So you either stay in the past thinking about the good old days, or you thinking about how it's getting ready to be.
Right.
It's already getting ready to be better. That's the only state that I ever talk to you. It's either in the past or, hey, I'm getting ready to be here. Right. Well, what are you doing now? And that's the way it was with me. I was avoiding the now. Right. Once you get off and get clean, and then you man up or woman up and do the thing that you need to do to become that person that you see, but be that person without drugs, that takes courage.
Right.
Now, it takes you being able to fall down and not have a drug to medicate you to feel better. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes that pain, that's what you really needed. You needed to feel the pain so that you could get back up, stand back up, and go after whatever it is that you need to be going after. Mm-hmm. that you deserve because of the person that you are.
Right. Now, had you ever in your life, before you overcame addiction, because that's what's coming next, had you ever given 100% at anything? 100%, all your might. Had you given 100% to anything before you overcame drugs?
No.
Okay. And so a lot of us out there, and you can attest to it, and I can attest to it too, at a certain point in your life, you got to realize, hey, I've been living life. I've never given 100%. I've never given 100%, you know? And what do you say to somebody out there right now who's never given 100% at anything? What do you say to them?
What I say is that you're missing the very best part of your life. There's nothing like coming down. You know, I got fascinated with the high that drugs gave me. There's nothing like experiencing the high that comes from giving 100%. Let me go further in saying that 100% is never perfection. Just in case somebody's out there that goes, well, it's impossible to give 100%. I disagree. You can give 100%. I just don't think that you're going to be perfect. I've not achieved perfection, even in what I do right now. However, just the fact that you gave 100%. You did the best that you could possibly do. You gave the best that you could possibly give. There's nothing like that type of feeling. It's a natural high. It's a high that nobody can take away from you. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would say to that.
And so, in other words, you know, what I hear you saying, my brother, is that when we provide deep encouragement to one another, in essence, where we're causing a dopamine effect, is that Would you say that?
All right, so bruh, you threw a term on me, and I don't know if all of our viewers understand what dopamine is, but that is true. For those that don't know, dopamine is a natural drug that the mind produces. When you do drugs, what happens is it destroys the body's natural ability to produce dopamine the way that it should. I'm not going to get deep off into the science. And just to let you know, somebody told me when I was finally coming off of drugs, a term that we call recovery. When I was in recovery, somebody told me, hey, it takes about 2 years for you to get your dopamine store back. That's how much drugs distort and destroy your body's natural ability to produce a high of its own without having something to put in it. It's a deep statement, man.
So the reason why I said that is because I want to point to the fact that we've got to do a better job of having positive exchanges and positive exposures with one another so that we could feel high off life. Because I think that there's so many people out there who are doing drugs. They don't know what it means to be high off life. They might think that that's a fancy phrase. They don't understand that it's a biochemical reality when we actually begin to love one another and learn about how to love one another in order to produce similar dopamine type of effects.
Absolutely. It's a natural thing. It is a commonplace, natural thing. And you are right. Some people never experience it. And you know what? Unfortunately, some people, we don't even have to be talking about drugs. Some people don't get engaged with the dopamine effect because they don't see how they can be doing better. Right. But it is a natural high when you follow your purpose and what you are supposed to be doing and how you are supposed to be doing it. It produces a natural high. And that's where I am today.
Congratulations, Leon. I want to tell you that you are full of wisdom tonight. The things that you're talking to us about are directly applicable to millions of lives across America. And so I would like to thank you for your time. But I also want to know what role did God and spirituality play in you growing out of your circumstances?
Huge. It was huge. First of all, everybody in my family, I would declare as being very spiritual. I would not say that any of us are really religious. I don't want to get into the details of that unless you want me to, but we're all very spiritual. We are all very wise. I would say that probably of all the siblings, all of us could be teachers. I'm a trainer by profession. So what I do is I stand out in front of people and I train them on a product. I could also train them on soft skills. I could do that. I'm so much a trainer, and this has a direct correlation to your question. I'm so much a trainer. I can train on anything. If you give me a salt and pepper shaker, I can train on that. I can train on the shape of a Coke bottle. I can train on anything. I can make you excited to learn about the way a chair is made. Right. And the reason why I'm saying this is because that's a gift. So if you don't mind, I want to at least, before we get out of this thing, I want to leave 4 tips for people. We've talked a little bit about my past. We've talked a little bit about how I got from one point to another. But because we're kind of running short on time, if I could just leave these 4 tips for people, just these 4 tips.
You know, this is how time flies when you're having a good time. You know, it seems like we've only been talking for about 15, 20 minutes, but you know, we've almost consumed an hour because we're talking about a lifetime of change and a commitment to being a new person. And when you're talking about good things such as those, they have a way of bending time and space, man. So, you know, but we've got about 13 minutes, and I want you to take some time to let us know what are those 4 things that we need to take in today.
4 things that got me. So once I came out, I got to tell you something. Just because you come out And we've been talking about drugs, but your situation doesn't have to be drugs. You could be in something that's as bad as drugs. In other words, it's still your prison. It's
Right.
still your bondage. It's still got you chained up to where you can't move like you want to move.
Mhm.
So there's four things that I would ask, that if you're really serious about moving from point A to point B, you write these four things down. Here is the number one most important thing. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Number one, find your gift or talent. Did you hear me? The number one thing that you can do, find your gift or talent. Some people call that purpose. But what I'm asking you to do is I want you to take a look at yourself right now and ask yourself, what am I good at? What do I really like to do that I'm good at? Here's a way of asking. Go ahead, Sid.
I want you to speak to the people that say, I can't find my gift or talent. What do you say to them? Can you help?
I'm so glad that you said that. So here's something that you can tie into. Now there are some highly technical ways that you can do that. You can Google, what is my gift? You can Google, what is my talent? And you can take tests. And those tests are pretty accurate if you're so far away that you have no idea what you're good at. Most people, though, kind of have an idea in terms of what they're good at. But if you don't know, I would ask you to ask yourself this question: what do I really like to do? And what I have found is I can do this thing pretty good, and I assume that everybody can do it good, but other people have to work at it and I don't. That's a pretty good chance that's your gift. That's your talent. And so, in other words, I could talk. I knew kind of some big words. I had a fascination with words. Now, if you said, well, did you know that you were a trainer back then? No, I just knew that I could talk. But then I kept saying, well, how can talking make money? And in the environment that I was in, my environment suggested, well, you could be a trainer. Well, I had started teaching in other areas anyway, like in church, Sunday school. I want to make this so plain. You go, you mean Sunday school got you successful? Yeah, Sunday school got me successful because it put me out into a group of people where I knew, you know what? One of the top 3 fears of human beings is to talk in front of people, but I can do it. Maybe I can make some money in this thing. That's where Sunday school got me. So number one thing, find your gift or a talent. Sid, I hope I was exact enough for you there.
Perfect.
Okay. Number 2, what would I do if money were no concern? I love what I do so much. I can't even get with a person that don't like to go to work. A person that's been going to work for 10 years and don't like what they do, you know what I say? You probably need to try to find a different career. You're probably 100% not even working in your field. That's how bad the brain is. The brain, the human mind is so bad. You can make money and be good at something, check this out, and don't even like it.
Right.
You can be good at something and don't even like it. I'm not one of them people. I'm good at what I do and like it. You know why?
Why?
Because I work with my gift or talent. Life is too short to be working for somebody that you probably don't like anyway, doing a job that you don't like just to bring home a paycheck.
So for those members of our community out there right now who feel stuck in a job that's not making them happy, what can we say to them tonight that can help them to change their life?
Don't be afraid to take a risk and change up everything that you do.
Wow.
You got some seniority at a company, but you're miserable. And you're making other people miserable too, because you're miserable. You ain't talking to people because you're miserable. Is it worth it then? Life's too short. Find out what your gift or your talent is. Connect that with, would I do this thing even without getting paid? If the answer is yes, that's the thing that you need to go after.
Okay.
I leave my job now. I ain't worried about it. I'm going to another one, or I'm going to just teach on my own. I'm going to train on my own. There's something, if we got any Bible readers out there, there's something that says in the Bible, your gift will make room for you.
That's
your
right.
gift will make room. It will seat you in high places. You know what your gift is? It'll open doors that you didn't even see. It'll put you in the presence of people that can really help you because you were working with your gift and or your talent.
Right. Okay.
Point number 3.
Mm-hmm.
If the opportunity has not presented itself yet, attempt to create it. If the opportunity hasn't presented itself yet, attempt to create it. Man, if I had time, I would tell you how I got to the place where I am right now. It was a position that wasn't even heard of yet. And I walked into my supervisor's office and said, I need a $7,000 raise. They said, why? I said, I just do. They said, well, in order for us to give you the $7,000 raise, you have to do this. You have to be operating on this level, in this position. I said, well, let me have that position. Mm-hmm. They said, we got to go to HR. I said, are you willing to go to HR? They said, we don't know. That's how the conversation started. There was no forethought. Sometimes you can just have a divine inspirational thought that you need to really follow up. Follow that thought. The opportunity was not even there yet. They weren't even thinking about moving in this direction. I presented the opportunity to them. They said, yeah, I think we need that. I got the money. Incidentally, it was more than a $7,000 raise, but we ain't got time to talk about that. Yeah. Okay, so if the opportunity hasn't presented itself yet, attempt to create it. Final thought. Don't be afraid to be a little crazy. Don't be afraid to be a little crazy. Now, some of you may be saying, well, what's crazy? What does that mean? Define it for me. It may mean that you need to be a little humorous. Mm-hmm. When other people that did this thing that you see had always presented it seriously, maybe what you need to do is be humorous if that's your thing. That's why you got to know your gift. If other people have been rigid and caused tension when they did this thing, maybe what you need to do is go in and create a sense of ease. Mm-hmm. Because you are gifted to do that. That's why you got to know your gift or your talent. And so you've got to be a little bit different. But when I say crazy, I really do mean crazy. There's a thing that I do in my training session right now that's called FETCH. FETCH is an acronym to describe a product that we use, the product that we sell. That system that I created has become so noteworthy that other connected businesses in our industry use that acronym, something that I actually created. It's a crazy thing. If you saw it in real life, I mean, I got people hollering in the room, I'm going to go fetch a door. People will laugh, but they never forget. If they see me 2 or 3 years later, they go, Leon, I still remember fetch. I still remember it. That's because I was a little crazy. Right. Don't be afraid to be a little bit crazy, because that may kick the door open that was once just cracked.
Leon, where can people find you if they would like to follow up with you after today's conversation? Because you're obviously somebody who could coach others along. You're obviously somebody who could be a great business consultant, well, who already is a great business consultant. And if somebody wants to find you out there, how could they do that?
Hey, man, leon.starks at facebook.com. That's the easiest way to find me. You can probably find me on Lion of Judah Lion of Judah, Cincinnati, Ohio. Just Google that. It'll connect you up to a website. It'll take you to a Facebook page, but make sure it's, that's Starks. S-T-A-R-K-S. S-T-A-R-K-S.
Okay.
You look me up and you'll find me. You'll see some clips that I've done. You'll see some interesting things that we have done as a church as well.
Okay. Now, as we wrap up, we have 3 questions that we ask all our guests. I ask that you answer them within a minute and 10 seconds. Okay.
All right, man. Let's roll.
The first question is, what is survival to you?
Survival means that you have finally come to a point to where you're leaning on nothing else but pure creativity. Mm-hmm. Logic has been thrown out the window.
Right.
And so it's creativity and you're being strategic. That's right. What survival is.
Without a doubt. And what is success to you?
Success is when you can go to bed and sleep, not having anything over your head, looking at what you've accomplished, perhaps for the day, the week, the month, or whatever. And you know what? Here's a big thing of success: real time. Real time, meaning I'm not even tripping over the past. And I'm